how can you love somebody else or have a relationship if you can't love yourself? Right? Like if you don't know how to love yourself first, you are not going to be able to show anyone, whether it be your significant other, kids, friends, whatever, you are not going to be capable of showing other people love until you are fully, truly in love with yourself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Full Belly Podcast. My name is Matt. I am your host. We are very, very excited to be here again. Obviously, we're back in our studio, which is ever evolving. We switched from the Red Room, and, Josh has done a lot of really, really good work, and it just changes every single day. We're doing a different setup today. I'm really, really excited about it. We're doing a virtual podcast today with somebody very, very cool that is not in the room. They're not even in the state. So I'm really excited for you to meet this individual. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to our lovely co-host, Juan. Welcome, Juan.
What's up, brother? Hello,
it's so good to see you and have you back for yet another episode.
Man, my favorite place to be. One of my favorite places to be.
I really do love talking on the podcast. It's fun.
It's the best. It's the best. This is our life, right? This is life. Cool.
It's weird too because people don't realize whoever's watching this, whenever they're watching it, wherever they're watching it. This you see what you see on the screen, and they don't get to see that when we walk out of this room, we're at work.
Yeah,
we have to go right back to work.
Yeah.
So it's cool to step out of here and just be able to be us and talk about things that sometimes we can't necessarily say on
at work.
At work, yeah, in meetings and everything. We just to kind of get to be us. So that's very cool.
The best.
How are you? You
good, bro? Man, I'm really good. Life's good. I chose to be good today. I'm good.
You think about that on a daily basis?
I do.
Do you?
I choose every day. I try to, maybe not every day. I don't want to be overly idealistic, but yeah. I mean, I come to work today. I listened to Nipsey Hussle, and I said, all right, I'm choosing it.
Nips.
And then I listened to, immediately after that, I went into some Chris Stapleton and settled down because I was really amped up. But,
You got it. Yeah, the music is very, very tied into your emotional.
Yeah, because
you're here and you're there.
My Nipsey Hussle was really high, and I needed to be
got you too high.
Yeah, I wanted to be heart.
You got high in music, man.
That makes sense, guys.
Sure, it makes sense. I guess it could make sense to me. I want to talk about something really, 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 really quick with you before we introduce our guest.
Yeah,
you quit vaping recently.
Yeah,
it's important for our viewers to know that.
It's a struggle, but yes, yeah.
How long have you been off of the vape?
So it's 11 days altogether that we've been going through this process.
Tell them about that, because tell them the process. Tell them how it started and how you got to where you're at today, and tell people how it's been, because I'm telling you, man, I really, really want people to hear this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about addiction here.
For sure. No doubt, man. It's an absolute addiction for me. It started because Matt, he loves me, and you care about me, and
I do.
And one day I had this special vape contraption that allows you to hit two breezes at the same time. And he seen it, and I thought he was going to laugh. But he was like, what is that? Horrifying device. He was so mad.
I was so upset with you.
And then, I thought about it. And then, Matt, you pulled me in and you were like, yo, dude, what's the deal? You're a glutton. He just cut deep and called me a vape glutton. And it hit hard enough for me to be like, yeah, I am. And it's a problem. And plus, I want to quit anyway. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I don't want to have any vices that are a need for me to be relying upon for my emotional, mental, spiritual, anything, well-being and condition. So, the process though, this is good. This is good because I made a decision to quit vaping, which means I made a decision to choose into the process a lot of times. And I've been talking a lot about that.
Mm-hmm.
But, the process has been hard. I'm not going to tell you it's been perfect. I've hit a vape a few times. And what's crazy, though, is it's a drug. It makes me feel like, I'm just, when I'm vaping regularly, I don't see the effects. I don't really feel it like that. But I was rocked. I was like, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It felt. But in my head, I'm like, I want to do that again, even though it was awful. Right?
And I know you, man, well, I should say a lot of us, many of us, when we do things, we do it to the extreme.
Yeah, dude.
So Juan rolls into the office with 6 vapes in his pocket, just bulging at the pocket. Never know what's in there.
Don't judge me,
Couldn't
Rebecca.
tell if he's got a weapon or if he's got another vape in his pocket. And then he comes out with this thing where it's like, yo, I'm not just gonna vape normally with one vape. I got a double hitter. I got a double barrel vape contraption that takes 2 vape puffs and crams it into one.
Yeah.
So I can not only kill myself a little bit quicker than I'm supposed to die, I'm going to die double the speed at light speed years that I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And so,
And I can't walk up.
you know, when you care about somebody, you see that and you're like, what? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You're better than this. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
You hit me with the message the right way. So I'm thankful.
If I offended you or hurt your feelings, I'm sorry.
You definitely did. And
Actually,
I
I'm
don't
not
care.
sorry. I really.
And I don't care, and I don't even like you anymore. I don't even like him anymore, guys.
Well, fine. Then we're going to talk to Rebecca. We're going to make friends with Rebecca. Rebecca, I'm going to introduce Rebecca a little bit. I have a really nice intro, and we're very excited to talk to Rebecca. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode of our podcast, we have the pleasure of welcoming a true force of nature. Our guest is a woman of many passions and has dedicated her life to inspiring others to live an active and fulfilling lifestyle. Her love for the outdoors and commitment to educating others on the importance of the Second Amendment, self-defense, and hunting is truly inspiring. But there's more to her story. Our guest is also a champion of addiction recovery and works tirelessly. She works tirelessly to support at-risk youth and adults. Her personal journey to sobriety has fueled her desire to make a positive impact in the world, and she has achieved remarkable success in doing so. We are honored to have her with us today to share her unique insights and experiences, and we hope you'll join us in listening to what promises to be an enlightening and engaging conversation. So, without further ado, please help us in welcoming Rebecca. Woo!
Hello. That was good.
Hey, y'all.
Yes, I love that. Rebecca, tell our watchers, tell our viewers, tell our listeners where you're tuning in from.
I am currently in Mansfield, Texas, which is about 25 minutes south of Fort Worth.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were in Mansfield, Ohio.
You don't want to be a man.
No, I didn't even know there was a Mansfield, Ohio, but
Isn't there?
Nope,
Yeah.
Mansfield, Texas.
Yep, Mansfield, Ohio. There's a prison there. Shawshank Redemption. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. Shawshank Redemption was
course I
filmed
have.
in Mansfield Prison in Mansfield, Ohio.
You learn something new every day.
We're going to learn some stuff about you today. I'm very, very excited about this. Tell us, Rebecca. Well, I would like you to tell, because we did a little back and forth. What is pleasantries is how we like to term it. Just banter back and forth before we hit record on this. How do we find you? How did we get in contact?
Over my personal Instagram page. I had a random message from some guy in my message requests, and I happened to look, and there you were.
That's amazing. I found Rebecca by searching hashtags of recovery and addiction. And, you know, if somebody is willing to put that hashtag on their posts publicly, that means that there's, at least I believe, a good intention there to say that I am a person in recovery. I want people to see it. I'm not going to recover quietly, because there's a lot of people that are very, very big on the anonymous thing, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, but times have changed, and I think that it's important to be able to find people that are willing to talk. So I would love to get into your story here, and I'm really, really excited about some things that you're excited to talk about, but I figured we could all just talk about a few things, some hot topics I think that are especially in recovery right now. So
Yeah.
One of the things that I think people don't understand is the concept of sponsorship. The concept of sponsorship. And I see it literally, and sometimes it happens in different 12-step programs than others, or sometimes in not 12-step programs. But tell me what you think about the importance of a male being with a male sponsor, or a female being with a female sponsor. I would love to hear what you have to say about
What
that.
I have to say about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it goes two ways, right? I mean, if I'm like reading out of the book and I'm like paying attention to black and white lettering, there just isn't any information really necessarily on it. But experience is like, this probably isn't a good idea, you know. It's probably not a good idea if this is the way that we're going to go into a sponsee relationship and walking beside somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But the literature that I'm used to and I've absorbed doesn't necessarily say anything, but I have seen so many things go wrong with it.
Yeah.
I've seen so many things go wrong with it. But interestingly, I don't think I've ever seen a male have a female sponsor. I don't think I have, right? It's usually men trying to sponsor a woman.
I don't know if I've ever seen that either. I've seen men sponsoring women. I don't think I've ever seen a woman sponsoring a man. What about you, Rebecca? What do you think?
Well, I don't think I've ever, like, in my personal life, I've never seen a man sponsoring a woman or vice versa. I mean, like in Hollywood,
Yeah.
Right,
I don't know if y'all have seen the show Dexter.
Come on.
But like that actually happens and it turns out very, very badly.
Yeah.
So
typically
no,
it does.
I'm a firm believer in female sponsorship and a guy with a guy sponsor for sure.
I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
And obviously there is nothing that we could say on here that is 100% ironclad, tried and true, applicable in all situations.
Yeah.
However, I will say that the majority of the time, and you can either say that that's 51% or 95%, I don't care. You determine the majority. Majority of the time, it's not going to work out well. And if you are a male trying to sponsor a female, you're a creep. I'm going to just leave it there. Okay. People can be upset if they want to. People can say that
I agree.
it's not always the case. And I got a really nice guy that he's married and this, and he loves me and he really wants me to get better. You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you are a male trying to sponsor a female, you're a creep. That's all there is to it. That's it, man. I'm just going to keep it real. I like to keep things real.
And I don't know what it's like to be a woman.
Exactly. How can you?
I'm not a woman. Right? There's women things that I won't understand. Is that right, Rebecca?
That is a fact. Yes. No,
Yeah.
it's a totally different ballgame. I mean, I have my own beliefs and I have my own morals and standards, but
Yeah.
it's a totally different. I mean, we even mentally think different,
Right.
100%.
So it's like
100%.
it won't end well. I completely agree with y'all. It's it will not end well. And not that I'm going to judge somebody for making that decision.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't suggest it for sure.
Yeah, we let Matt judge
I'll
them
judge
for
him.
us.
You don't have to judge him. I'll judge him. Everything's good. The judgment is made.
you be judgy. That's fine.
I'm doing the live and let live thing because I like peace in my life. But Matt is
I'll judge.
carrying.
I'll still stay peaceful in my life, but I'll still judge them too.
Yeah.
It's all good. Speaking of that, a very, very difficult thing to talk about, and also something that is oftentimes rushed into. Okay, relationships, and especially physical, intimate relationships. So I see it a lot. And Rebecca, we work in treatment. We work in addiction treatment. So we're constantly trying to, not only outside in our own personal recoveries and working with people in a program, but working with people who we're treating. They're our clients, and trying to guide them in the right direction, right? And I would say, you would think if you'd ask, what is the biggest problem that you guys have in an addiction treatment center? Most people who don't understand recovery would probably say, well, relapsing, drinking, or using. And I will tell you that the biggest thing that I believe that we deal with is relationships in early recovery. I really do believe that relationships in early recovery are the biggest problem. Now, let's talk about that a little.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about relationships and specifically intimate ones in early recovery. Why? Why is it so bad? Or why? Again, it's not in the book. It doesn't say don't get into a relationship. Right. Those words, it might say that in a roundabout way. But what do you see in your experience of whether it's your own personal experience or just watching people, seeing people, studying outcomes and what happens? Tell me why. Yeah,
man, stats are different, right? Like my experience first and foremost was that I hit the bottom, right? I was sleeping in garages, homeless, like destitute all the way around. At the end of my road, it didn't really matter. Like I was done getting high for me, but that's not what I see or we see a lot of times. I think that you could have almost done anything to me in my life and I would have been like, I don't want to go back. I'm done. But that's just not the reality for the majority of situations out there. You know, it's very difficult. I don't even know how to be in a healthy relationship with my kids, my family, the people that I grew up with, or my friends, let alone somebody else that doesn't know how to do those things themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if I don't know how to be in a basic relationship with people that have known me or don't really have a demand other than like love, then, you know, it's something to consider, right? Like, how am I going to get into a relationship when I don't know how to be in a relationship with me? And I'm guilty of it, right?
Right,
you know,
right.
I've experienced that. You know, that's why I got to say, you know, I stayed sober.
Right.
I don't want to like falsely advertise what's happening in my narrative, because I that was me. But I didn't do a good job.
Right.
You know, early on for me, it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was horrible.
Yeah. Rebecca, I'm sure that you can at least, you know, you have some experience with this. And by the way, we talked about how I sent Rebecca a message. I'm sure you get a lot of messages on Instagram, as a lot of women do. But in recovery, I feel like that's just a very easy way, especially early recovery. Social media is a very easy way, because our self-esteem isn't there yet. Our self-worth, our courage. We don't know how to talk to people without getting drunk or high. We don't know how to socialize. Truly, I remember thinking about, like, what is sex going to be like sober?
Man.
I did truly, I was afraid of that. Like,
I was
like,
terrified.
I mean, when was the last time I had sex when I wasn't drunk or high? But, you know, I think that a lot of people will use that route, specifically men, right? Like, men slide on women. However, I want to make it very, very clear that let's not make this about the men being the ones that slide, because the women will absolutely slide. Okay?
I was slid.
Yeah, I was slid. You were slid.
I've seen it. I've seen it happen. Women, they do the exact same thing. It's not just dudes, for sure.
Women will slide. So let's not try
seen
to.
It.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Any experiences you've had with either social media or early recovery, relationships, any of that kind of stuff that you think might be good for people to hear.
Well, I completely agree with what was already said. I mean, in your early recovery, it's like I truly believe, how can you love somebody else or have a relationship if you can't love yourself? Right? Like, if you don't know how to love yourself first, you are not going to be able to show anyone, whether it be your significant other, kids, friends, whatever, you are not going to be capable of showing other people love until you are truly in love with yourself. And I don't mean that from like a I mean, yeah, it actually can be selfish, but it's a good selfish. Like, take care of yourself, focus on yourself. But I have seen so many times people get into a relationship at a couple months, 60 days, 6 months, 9 months, and then they break up. And then what happens?
Yeah.
Not all the time, but the majority of the time, one or both relapse. Yeah, I personally was in a relationship. Let's see. I was already over a year sober, but I started a relationship with a guy, and I wound up breaking up with him because it was just so freaking toxic. Like, he was in the program as well. It didn't end well. And I hate to, talk about this, but it is a real thing. Yeah. So he wound up relapsing, not right away, but he wound up relapsing, and he is no longer with us. And he wound up getting cancer, but he was also using heroin. And so he didn't, he was so high all the time that he didn't care to go to the doctor. And so it was a snowball effect, know, and I truly, and he only had maybe 2 years sober at that point when I broke up with him.
Yeah.
And so, it did not end well. Yeah. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
So,
and that's like the ultimate tragedy. I was gonna say that's the ultimate tragedy. I'm so sorry to hear that. That happens though. That happens a lot.
Yeah, real.
Like, that happens so much.
It does.
All the time, every single day. And again, I'm very sorry that happened. I don't think it's with bad intentions though. Like, I want to say that. Like, we're human beings. We like thrive on connection, right? And especially in addiction, we're disconnected. Right. We're disconnected from everything in every way, shape, and form. So now that we're clean and we're feeling good and starting to get a haircut or whatever, and, you know, putting on some weight and working out and eating meals and getting some sleep. Like, yes, of course, man. Like, we're feeling good about ourselves. And yes, sex feels good. Relationships feel good. Intimacy feels good. It's supposed to feel good. Can you imagine if those things didn't feel good?
Oh, just painful.
Yeah, like God made sex to feel good. He made connection to feel good. Can you imagine like every time you had an orgasm? Yeah, like you just got a migraine every time you had an orgasm or something. Like no, man, it feels good. It's supposed to feel good, and so we want to feel good when we're clean. Like there's nothing wrong with that. However, I think that we just don't know the responsibility that comes with that. And, you know, we don't think about how this other person can be affected. Like, yes, I want to go get with this girl. She's cute. I'm feeling good. It would be fun tonight. But this girl has got 3 kids that she hasn't seen in 9 months, and she's trying to get custody of them back. And what if she gets pregnant again? And how is that going to disrupt her life? And is she safe? I don't know if she's got anything that maybe we're, you know, like how many, I wonder how this, I've often asked myself this question. With the physical sexual component of relationships and early recovery, how much better things would work out in terms of the feelings that go along, the leading somebody on, right? Because a lot of times you don't want to be with that person.
Just want the feeling.
Truly, like you don't want to be with that person. You do not want a relationship. I can say so many times in attempts in recovery, I did not want to be with the person that I was hooking up with. I wanted to hook up with them. That's what I wanted. I did not want to be with them. I didn't want a relationship, but I led that person on because I was not thinking with good intentions. And I led that person on to believe that I wanted to be with them. And then when I got what I wanted, I cut it off and I hurt that person.
You know what's weird though? Because I'm the opposite, right? Like I don't necessarily, like more times than not, like I'm not a person that like is searching for the physical part. You know what I mean? Because the void in me has nothing to do with like getting off. It's like, yo, that's not what I need to get off. It's my soul. My soul's gone, dude. My soul's gone. I don't know how to fill that in me. Like you said, you know, I don't know how to love myself. And love is interesting though, you know, as like I was getting high. I loved my son. I didn't know how to treat my son with the love that I had for him. I didn't know how to treat myself that way, you know. So I think that there's a lot of what's tough though is all the ideals that we work towards, and we have to. I got to be a fanatic about improving my life and living my life the way I have to, because I'm treating an illness that has like deathly consequences. So you know, part of that is just me being critical. I know that. I know if I have too much shame in my life, it's gonna lead me in different ways. You know, I feel ashamed when I hurt people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I hear you. Rebecca, let's talk about you. Let's talk about the Texas Patriot 1311 on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram, Texas Patriot 1311. We've got Rebecca tuning in on the green screen from
on my green
Mansfield, Texas. What time is it in Texas right now?
12:41 to be exact.
Wow, you guys are only an hour behind?
We're only an hour behind.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. I thought you guys were at least 3 or 4 hours behind.
Nope.
It's like you're right next door then. It's like you're right next door. She's not that far away. Texas isn't that far from Ohio. You're just a stone's throw away, Rebecca.
It's not too far.
Tell us about yourself. Let's get to know you. I know that you have 16 years of recovery. Is that correct?
Man.
I mean, round of applause.
Yes, March 3rd.
Freaking years.
March 3rd, 2007.
That is incredible. March 3rd, 07.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
What did you do for your anniversary?
Yeah, it was,
anything special? I saw the pictures of the Sweet 16 type of look.
I thought that was so corny, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something fun just for me, just to celebrate. And it was a blast. I know at least one of y'all has kids, but like, the cake smash that like you do for like a kid when they're 1. I did that because I thought that was hilarious. Yes. I mean, you know what? Just be silly, be yourself, be ridiculous. You know, it only happens once. So, a good friend of mine celebrated with me and we took some pictures and they turned out great. I'll look back at them, you know, and I'm like, God, look at my smile, because it's a genuine smile. And I know I've been sober 16 years, but I mean, it hasn't been easy, but seeing that
Mm-hmm.
true happiness and genuine smile is, it reminds me that it's worth it.
100%. So tell me about
So
16 years ago. What was it like? Tell us a short version of what it was like and how you got here.
So it was March 2nd, 2007. I should have died.
Mm.
I was driving on I-10 in Houston, Texas, and I passed out at the wheel and rolled my 4Runner and woke up upside down. And that was the day that I should have died. One of the days I should have died. But it was a wake-up call. I was on probation. I was past my probation curfew. My license was expired. My inspection was expired. Like I had so many things against me.
Mm-hmm.
But God saved
Man,
me.
come on.
And it was my I mean, I had hit rock bottom so many freaking times, but that was it.
Mm.
That was it. I was facing jail time. I mean, that was my last option. And so I was still a minor, but in the state of Texas at the age of 17, you can actually be tried as an adult.
17. Wow.
Yeah. So I was 17. I'd actually my birthday is in October, so I was just 17. So I wound up, my outpatient facility helped me get into an inpatient treatment facility, which I was at for 7 months.
Wow.
And during that time, it clicked. Like I woke up and, they say it was that, it was just God met me exactly where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, oh, I'm just going to stay here until my probation's up and then I'm just going to walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that didn't happen, obviously, because it clicked. I had that awakening, that moment that it was like, this is life or death. Do I want to live or do I want to die? Do I want to live the way I've been living since I was 12 years old? Or do I want to live a life that I'm proud of living? So it was that choice. And every single day I make that decision. I wake up every day. It is truly one day at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And
I love that so much. And you said that, 17 years old making that decision. You do not see that very often. You don't see that. And you said you were struggling or using or doing any sort of whatever it was since the age of 12. So you already had 5 years under your belt at the age of 17 when this happened. Had you been to treatment yet? Or was that your very first time?
Not inpatient. It only took one time. Can I just hop into my kind of a history?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay with y'all?
Sure. Yes.
So, growing up, I was the youngest of 3 girls. And so I was always left out. I was always the weird one. I was always the outcast wherever I went. I never fit inside the box that like my family or society wanted me to fit into. I always was, doing crazy things and just thinking differently. I probably have like ADHD or whatever, but hey, it's great. I'm just different. I've never fit in anywhere in my entire life. And so I was always that, not like, I hate to like label people, but I wasn't like a freak or whatever, but I kind of was because I was just so different. I guess loud and passionate. My whole life I've been this way. So it kind of left me alone a lot. And when I was in the 6th grade, this is a long story short, I can go into a lot more, but I won't. So my mom actually went to prison when I was in the 6th grade. Oh, and let me put this here. So both of my parents are actually in the program or were. I'll get there.
Wow.
So I never saw either of my mom or dad drink or use my whole childhood. My dad was my best friend. I was always outside, tinkering on stuff in the garage or out at our lease or whatever. So So my mom went to prison, and I grew up in a fairly affluent area of Houston. And so I lost all my friends because no one could be a friend with a daughter of a felon. So who did I find to accept me?
Mm-hmm.
I found the people whose parents didn't care, whose parents weren't around, the kids that were the outcasts, and they accepted me as their own. And they were already using, mind you, this is 6th grade going into 7th grade. They were already using, they were already stealing their parents' alcohol. They were already doing all this stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, that allowed me to escape.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any coping mechanisms at this point in my life. And so this was just like the ultimate escape for me. And it just started with weed and alcohol. And it just, quick, real quick.
Yeah.
So that's the age of 12, 12, 13.
My first sip of alcohol, I was 10.
And
just a sip. And so I was about 12, and then 11, 12, and then 8th grade. It was pretty bad. Or 7th grade going into 8th grade, my mom got out of prison, and parents divorced. But it became illegal for me to see my dad, and now I know that it was because he started using again. So it was pretty bad. I didn't really have a good relationship with my mom my whole life. Still don't. So that crushed me.
Yeah.
Getting into high school. Am I allowed to talk about like what I'm not going to glorify it or anything, but like kind of the progression of it.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want on here.
I just wanted to make sure.
Whatever you want on here.
Yeah.
So, I started I was introduced to pills. I was introduced to bars and somas and just like all the muscle relaxers, all the painkillers, all this stuff, because they were easy to get a hold of. They were just in your parents' or grandparents' medicine cabinets, right? Super easy to steal. Well, then that wasn't enough. That was my freshman year of high school. Going into my sophomore year of high school, I was introduced to cocaine. And it was off to the races, literally. And then that wasn't enough. Yeah, literally.
Literally.
That wasn't enough. So I started, and when I tell you I don't remember, I try to not remember the amount of cocaine that I have put into my body, because I got to such a low point in my life. I was stealing from people just to get my fix, I was kicked out of my mom's house when I was a sophomore in high school. So I was homeless. I was bouncing around from house to house. I slept in cars most of the time. And then I found ecstasy. And then that made me feel real great, because I was I literally wanted to die. I wanted to die every single day. I've tried to kill myself multiple times. Because I was so miserable, and no amount of drugs or alcohol could mask truly how I felt inside. But I hated myself so much.
Yeah.
So it was just like coming from all sides, I didn't know. I had zero coping mechanisms, and it was all masked by, by the time I was 17, I was completely addicted to meth, and I weighed 90 pounds and homeless. But you know what's crazy through all of this? I never missed a day of school. I never missed school. I graduated high school. I graduated high school.
That's
with A's and B's and a C. Like, I don't even.
To school. You were going to math. You were going to math class, zooted on meth.
You said a lot of things that are like, that's unbelievable, right? But it's really not, because I get it. But you said one thing. You were fully addicted
And I went to
meth
freaking
and all these
school.
other things, and you went to school.
Good for you.
Whoa. Dude.
The best addict ever. We're hashtagging this episode as the best addict ever.
Well, hey, I mean, I wouldn't
That's
go that
amazing.
far.
That's
No,
truly impressive.
You know, there's stories that I could go into that I won't. I'm an open book. I don't hide anything simply because what's the point? If it can help someone that may be able to relate,
Right.
like, oh crap, like I've done that, or I've made that mistake, or whatever. It's like any mistake that I have made in my life has truly made me who I am today.
Say that.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
So many people view addiction as something to be ashamed of. Someone that is like, even people like on the streets, or, people that who are addicts. I mean, not me, or hopefully not y'all, but it's like, I don't look down on those people. I understand. I do. I understand. And that's not something that you need to be ashamed of, because I mean, there's a way out. I never thought, literally never thought, I thought I was going to die. I wanted to die. Like I said, like I was legitimately trying to kill myself. And I am so thankful that God saved me from that, because
I am too. I have goosebumps under my shirt right now. I literally have goosebumps under my crew neck right now, listening to you. And I know, like, so many other people out there. There's Rebecca's out there right now that are high in school, and that are going to go through some of the things that Rebecca went through. And there's Juan's out there, and there's Matt's out there, and it's this kind of stuff. Truly, like, you never know, a hashtag that you put on there could be the reason for somebody else, some other kid or adult, it doesn't matter, to be looking for something and just see hope. And those pictures of 16 years, I mean, that's a miracle. That gives me hope. That's inspiring to me. That is such an amazing thing. And then to take it a step further, you're very passionate about things, and you've found things that are important to you and that you believe in. And I think that doing that in recovery is so incredibly crucial, right? We put down drugs and alcohol, which is what masks all of our pain, and which we love, we fall in love with, and we adore it, and it's everything to us. Nothing else matters. So when we get rid of that stuff, we have to find it. We have to find something else. We have to replace that with something. And so I know that the Second Amendment and being outdoors and just guns in general, which I was like completely blown away looking at some of the guns that were on your page. And there was like a wild boar that was next to like some really cool gun. Like, tell me about that. Tell me about like Second Amendment, and just, there was a shirt that said "Criminals Love Gun Control." Right?
Can y'all see my cup
tell me about
too?
these
I
types
have
of things.
it on my cup too.
Criminals love gun control.
That's so good.
Tell us about that. We've got about three minutes left, but like, tell us about your passions of Second Amendments and guns and hunting, and what that means to you. And
well, so kind of what I was saying earlier is like, I never fit in anywhere, right? I never was able to like find my place. I was always like the freak or the outcast or whatever. It's because I've always been super passionate about certain things. And I've truly, in this industry, within the hunting, shooting, firearms industry, I found my place. I mean, it's really hard to get into the industry, but no, I go hog hunting a lot in the state of Texas. The feral hog problem is unfreaking believable. And then also predator hunt.
Yes. They shoot from like helicopters and stuff.
Yes,
too, don't
actually,
they? Don't they like take helicopters around?
Yeah,
and
if you look up Heli Hunter on Instagram or Facebook, they're actually one of my clients. They're really good friends of mine. They're like family. No, and it's just as Americans, we have constitutional rights. They are literally trying to strip our constitutional rights from us.
Yes,
but they're not going to go down without a fight. Period. End of story. Whether someone wants to take that as a threat or not, it's a threat. I mean, it's a threat for people to try and take away our rights as Americans. I mean, they're God-given rights. It's not just about being like a crazy Texan or whatever. It's they're God-given rights as Americans. So no, but it's amazing because I also advocate for women. Mainly, I mean, I advocate for everybody, for men and women, kids, but teaching, I was raped when I was 16. And so self-defense is extremely important to me, and teaching women and showing women that you are capable of being able to defend yourself. There's truly nothing better.
Yeah. Yes.
So.
Oh, that's so good.
And you do that a lot with other women, with kids. I mean, not just about change and and being healthy, but even self-defense
and concealed carry, because now Texas is a constitutional carry state. But just like getting your concealed carry license and truly training and understanding your firearm and being confident. And it's not about, just having a gun. It's about being confident and knowing how to use your firearm properly. Because it's also not just about defending yourself, but it's about protecting those around you as well. So it's a very big responsibility, but I love that. Wouldn't change it for the world.
I love that so much. Rebecca, you have been amazing. This has been such a good episode. This has been our first time patching in with somebody remotely. It has gone wonderful for us here. This is amazing. I cannot wait to get this episode out there and published for you to share, for us to share, for you to see. Josh behind the scenes does a lot of really, really cool editing, and it's just going to look great. I'm very, very excited for you to see everything. One thing that you said, I think that there's a lot of people out there, not just in the addiction lifestyle, but in any lifestyle, whatever that might be, with a lot of things that you mentioned and vulnerabilities that I'm grateful that you shared with us, that you felt alone a lot of times in your life, or that you did not fit in, right? You mentioned, I think you said those exact words, I did not fit in, and you fit in perfectly in what you're doing right now and in the world today, and whether it's Texas or here in Ohio or the recovery community, you are a miracle. You're inspiring for me. You fit in perfectly. And for those that are out there watching this and you feel like you don't fit in, look at people like Rebecca. Follow her on Texas Patriot 1311, because she is a shining example. And so for anybody that is out there, please, give us a call on our hotline. Our job as human beings is to try to find a resource for you. I don't care what that is. I don't care if it's family support or if it's treatment, or if I don't care what kind of insurance you do or don't have. I don't care what state you live in. We want to help you, support you, try to talk you off the ledge, get you into something, because there is help out there. And if you click on our link tree, we'll have all sorts of links in all of these bios and in these videos, wherever they're posted. You'll find Rebecca's handles there. You'll find all of our handles, and you'll find our link tree. You can call us. You can email us. You'll find everything. Please follow us. Please share this episode. People need to hear this so that they can get better. More important than anything else, I think that it's very, very crucial that we go into our sponsor for the episode. And Juan is going to do a commercial. I don't know if you've seen our commercials yet, Rebecca, but Juan is going to do a commercial for a new line of gun holsters that just came out, and they're actually called Rebecca's gun holsters. And Juan is going to tell everybody about them, where they're made, where they're from, what materials they're made out of, where you can find them, what deals they got going on, and why Rebecca has her own gun holsters. So let's turn it over to our sponsors, Juan.
All right, guys. Scene. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Full Belly Podcast. We're here with Rebecca A. She got new gun holsters in stock. The Hunter's Hilly Hog holsters. She's coming straight out of Marion, Maryland. Something like that. Texarkana, or somewhere down in the handle of the Republic of the States of Texas. Now, this holster does something really special. It has a certain scent to it that draws in feral hogs. The scent is adapted by feral hogs, ducts and glands behind their ears that Rebecca has gotten an exclusive deal on. It's a patent. Actually, it's a feral hog patent. So we want you to look at Rebecca A's Get Down with the Get Down. Do something now at 1-800-239-9er. Daddy-O Whiskey Foxtrot. That's the number. And the web handle is www.w. Give me a holster right now. If you guys need any more information, give her a call on her pager that's actually a phone. And thank you. Thank you.